नमः शिवाय। हे प्रभु आनंददाता, हे प्रभु आनंददाता, ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। हे प्रभु आनंददाता, ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। शीघ्र सारे दूर गुण को दूर हमसे कीजिए। हे प्रभु आनंददाता, हे प्रभु आनंददाता। हमको शरण में हम सदाचारी बने। लीजिए हमको शरण में हम सदाचारी बने। ब्रह्मचारी धर्म रक्षत वीर व्रतधारी बने। हे प्रभु आनंददाता, ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। शीघ्र सारे दूर गुण को दूर हमसे कीजिए। हे प्रभु आनंददाता। प्रेम से हम गुरुजनों की नित्य ही सेवा करें। प्रेम से हम गुरुजनों की नित्य ही सेवा करें। सत्य बोले झूठ त्यागे, नेह आपस में करे। हे प्रभु आनंददाता, ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। शीघ्र सारे दूर गुण को दूर हमसे कीजिए। हे प्रभु आनंददाता। निंदा किसी की हम किसी से भूल कर भी ना करें। निंदा किसी की हम किसी से भूल कर भी ना करें। दिव्य जीवन हो हमारा, यश तेरा गाया करे। हे प्रभु आनंददाता, हे प्रभु आनंददाता, ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। शीघ्र सारे दूर गुण को दूर हमसे कीजिए। हे प्रभु आनंददाता, हे प्रभु आनंददाता, हे प्रभु आनंददाता। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। भटक रहे हम राह दिखा दे भगवन, राह दिखा दे। भटक रहे हम राह दिखा दे भगवन, राह दिखा दे। कदम कदम पर किरण दिखा दे भगवन, किरण दिखा दे। कदम कदम पर किरण दिखा दे भगवन, किरण दिखा दे। इन अखियों की प्रभु करा दे, इन अखियों के प्रभु करा दे। ज्योति से पहचान, ज्योति से पहचान। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। हम तो है संतान तिहारी प्रभु, संतान तिहारी। हम तो है संतान तिहारी प्रभु, संतान तिहारी। तेरी दया पर हम अधिकारी प्रभु है हम अधिकारी। तेरी दया पे हम अधिकारी प्रभु है हम अधिकारी। दुनिया होवे सुखी हमारी, दुनिया होवे सुखी हमारी। ऐसा दे वरदान, ऐसा दे वरदान। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। आज अंधेरे में है हम इंसान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान, ज्ञान का सूरज चमका दे भगवान। हे जगत पिता भगवान, हमें दो ज्ञान, तू ईश्वर प्यारा, दुनिया में सहारा। हे जगत पिता भगवान, हमें दो ज्ञान, तू ईश्वर प्यारा, दुनिया में सहारा। कमाया है, अब जाऊँ कहाँ ऋषियों ने मुझको मारा। दुनिया में सहारा, हे जगत पिता भगवान हमें दो ज्ञान, तू ईश्वर प्यारा दुनिया में सहारा। दिल मेरा तू यहाँ कहता है, तू मन मंदिर में रहता है। दिन रात भटकता रहा मैं दर दर मारा, दुनिया में एक सहारा। हे जगत पिता भगवान हमें दो ज्ञान, तू ईश्वर प्यारा दुनिया में एक सहारा। पापों से भगवन हमें बचा, वेदों का सच्चा भक्त बना। पाखंड छूट से सभी करे किनारा, दुनिया में एक सहारा। हे जगत पिता भगवान हमें दो ज्ञान, तू ईश्वर प्यारा दुनिया में एक सहारा। मझदार में है बेड़ा मेरा, कृपा कर आश्रय है तेरा। नंदलाल पाप में भीता जीवन सारा, दुनिया में एक सहारा। हे जगत पिता भगवान हमें दो ज्ञान, तू ईश्वर प्यारा दुनिया में एक सहारा। हे जगत पिता भगवान हमें दो ज्ञान, तू ईश्वर प्यारा दुनिया में एक सहारा, दुनिया में एक सहारा, दुनिया में एक सहारा।
हे सत्यनारायण स्वामी हमरे दुख हरो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। हे सत्यनारायण स्वामी हमरे दुख हरो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। तुम हो देव दया के सागर, अब उद्धार करो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। हे सत्यनारायण स्वामी हमरे दुख हरो, बेड़ा पार करो, ओ बेड़ा पार करो। अजर अमर अविचला अविनाशी, घट घट के बासी, प्रभु तुम घट घट के बासी। जन्म जन्म से तुम्हारे दर्द के, जन्म जन्म से तुम्हारे दर्द की अखियाँ हैं प्यासी, प्रभु की अखियाँ हैं प्यासी। सत्य सनातन परम ब्रह्म हरे, सत्य सनातन परम ब्रह्म हरे, हम पर कृपा करो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। हे सत्यनारायण स्वामी हमरे दुख हरो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। सदानंद ब्राह्मण के प्रभु जी तुमने कष्ट हरे, प्रभु जी तुमने कष्ट हरे। लखहारे भी लाके तुमने, लखराहे भी लाके तुमने कार्य सिद्धा करी, प्रभु जी कार्य सिद्धा करी। है तूफानों में जीवन नैया, है तूफानों में जीवन नैया, तरपत ध्यान धरो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। हे सत्यनारायण स्वामी हमरे दुख हरो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। साधु वैश्य के बंधन काटे, सुख संपत्ति दिन ही, प्रभु जी सुख संपत्ति दिन ही। उल्का मुख राज के तुमने, उल्का मुख राज के तुमने बड़ी कृपा की नहीं, प्रभु जी बड़ी कृपा की नहीं। बूढ़ भले हम तुम्हारे स्वामी, बूढ़ भले हम तुम्हारे स्वामी, विनती ध्यान धरो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। हे सत्यनारायण स्वामी हमरे दुख हरो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। हे सत्यनारायण स्वामी हमरे दुख हरो, बेड़ा पार करो, बेड़ा पार करो। तेरे पूजन को भगवान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तेरे पूजन को भगवान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तेरी माया किसन भेर तुम्हारा पाया। किसने जानी तेरी माया किसन भेर तुम्हारा पाया। हारे ऋषि मुनि कर ध्यान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तेरे पूजन को भगवान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तू ही जल में तू ही थल में तू ही मन में तू ही बल में। तू ही जल में तू ही थल में तू ही मन में तू ही बल में। तेरा रूप अनुपमान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तेरे पूजन को भगवान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। हर गुल में तू बुलबुल में तू हर दाल के हर पातन में। तू हर गुल में तू बुलबुल में तू हर दाल के हर पातन में। तू हर दिल में मूर्तिमान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तेरे पूजन को भगवान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तूने राजा रंग बनाए तूने भिक्षुक राज बैठाए। तूने राजा रंग बनाए तूने भिक्षुक राज बैठाए। तेरी लीला अजब महान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तेरे पूजन को भगवान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। झूठी जग की झूठी माया मूर्ख इसमें क्यों भर माया। झूठी जग की झूठी माया मूर्ख इसमें क्यों भर माया। कर कुछ जीवन कल्याण बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तेरे पूजन को भगवान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। तेरे पूजन को भगवान बना मन मंदिर आलीशान। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय।
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल
Radhe Krishna.
Hare Hare Gopal Radhe Krishna.
Hare Hare Govinda Panduranga.
Hare Hare Govinda Panduranga.
Hare Hare Gopal Radhe Krishna.
Hare Hare Gopal Radhe Krishna.
He Jagvandan Devaki Nandan Alakh Niranjan Hare Hare. He Jagvandan Devaki Nandan Alakh Niranjan Hare Hare. Janaman Ranjan Bhav Bhaya Bhanjan. Janaman Ranjan Bhav Bhaya Bhanjan. Alakh Niranjan Hare Hare. Hare Hare Gopal Radhe Krishna. Hare Hare Gopal Radhe Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram. 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 Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Jai Jai Rama, Jai Jai Rama. Jai Jai Rama, Jai Jai Rama. Namaste, Sitaram, and a very warm welcome to Kuladevalai Pitri Tirtha shrine here in Avukat. A shrine dedicated not just to our ancestors, but to ancestors in general. The ancestors of this village and all of your ancestors, you who have generously given of your time this evening, braving the inclement weather to be with us, to share in devotions to God on behalf of our ancestors. I've been warned by Anand not to give him any introduction, so I wouldn't. His discourse will itself be his introduction. But I wanted to tell you very much how much we appreciate you coming to these annual Shraddha Yagnas that we are having here. You know, there was a time in the history of our country and in the history of Hindus when Pitri Paksh was seen as something to be feared. When people would not engage in any activity at all. When temples were closed and wouldn't be open during this time. When no pujas will be conducted. And 5 years ago, I discussed this with Anand. And I said, I need to be convinced as to why nothing can happen during the period of Pitri Paksh. Why? And if it is that we pray on behalf of our ancestors, what prevents us from doing so by way of celebrating their lives in a special way like we are doing tonight? Tonight I'm very proud to say that when we started this 4 years ago, and before that at Balroop's temple, where we had the family Yagna, so it's 5 years, this shrine is 4 years old. We were severely criticized for having the Shraddha Yagna. People were urged not to come to the Kuladeva Lay shrine, and they didn't come because they were told that it was all wrong to do that. Today I was looking at the internet, and there were at least 15 temples in Trinidad this year that have followed our example and have Shraddha programs in their mandirs. It takes courage to bring about change. It takes strength to stand up for what you believe to be right. And I'm very proud that, under the leadership of Anand, we have been able to do this and to set a national example for our Hindu community. That there are many, many things we need to change. Things that were written in a particular way at a particular time suited a certain circumstance. But times have changed. And there is new wisdom, there is new intelligence, there is new interpretations. And we must therefore not be afraid to venture forth in these directions. I welcome you, I thank you for your presence, and thank you for your presence 4 years ago when you first came here. I want to especially thank Antiocha Sipol for coming here. I call her Antiocha Sipol. I'm very much close to her in age, but she and my father were cousins, and we come from the same family line. Her Sipol Maharaj was my grandmother's brother. So, with her we have a very close relationship. So with these few words, I wish to welcome you and invite Anand perhaps to sing a bhajan before we start.
राम 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 नाम तारकम
राम 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 नाम तारकम
राम 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 नाम तारकम
राम 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 नाम तारकम
राम कृष्ण वासुदेव भक्ति मुक्तिदायकम
राम कृष्ण वासुदेव भक्ति मुक्तिदायकम
राम 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 नाम तारकम
राम 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 नाम तारकम
राम कृष्ण वासुदेव भक्ति मुक्तिदायकम
राम कृष्ण वासुदेव भक्ति मुक्तिदायकम
जानकी मनोहरम सर्वलोकनायकम
जानकी मनोहरम सर्वलोकनायकम
जानकी मनोहरम सर्वलोकनायकम
जानकी मनोहरम सर्वलोकनायकम
शंकरादिसेव्यमान दिव्यनाम कीर्तनम
शंकरादिसेव्यमान पुण्यनाम कीर्तनम
राम 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 नाम तारकम
राम शङ्करादिसेव्यमान पुण्यनाम कीर्तनम्
राम 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 राम
राम नाम तारकम्
राम 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 तारकम्
राम 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 राम
तारकम्
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविन्द नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविन्द नारायण
केशव माधव हरि नारायण
केशव माधव हरि नारायण
केशव माधव हरि नारायण
केशव माधव हरि नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविन्द नारायण
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण
माधव मधुसूदन नारायण
माधव मधुसूदन माधव मधुसूदन नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविन्द नारायण
केशव माधव हरि नारायण
केशव माधव हरि नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविन्द नारायण
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण
श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्ण
माधव मधुसूदन नारायण
माधव मधुसूदन नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविन्द नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण
कृष्ण राम गोविन्द नारायण
वर्णानाम् अर्थसङ्घानां रसानां छन्दसामपि मङ्गलानां च कर्तारौ वन्दे वाणी विनायकौ भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तप्तमीश्वरम् वन्दे बोधमयं नित्यं गुरुं शङ्कररूपिणं यमाश्रितो हि वक्रोऽपि चन्द्रः सर्वत्र वन्द्यते सीतारामगुणग्रामं पुण्यारण्यविहारिणौ वन्दे विशुद्धविज्ञानौ कवीश्वर कपीश्वरौ उद्भवस्थितिसंहार कारिणीं क्लेशहारिणीं सर्वश्रेयस्य कारीं सीतां नतोऽहं रामवल्लभाम् नीलाम्बुजश्यामलकोमलाङ्गं सीतासमारोपितवामभाग्यं पाणौ महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम्। सुमिरन।
जो सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक करिवर वदना। जो सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक करिवर वदना। करहु यदो ग्रह सो गुण सदना। मुख होई वाचार पंगुषधय गिरिवर गहना। जासु कृपा सुदया प्रभु सकल कलिमल दहना। रहु श्याम करुण बारिजनयना। करहु सुमम उद्धाम सदा क्षीर सागर शयना। कुंदइंदु समदे बंदो गुरु पर कृपा सिंधु नर रूप हरि। महामोह तम श्री राम जय जय राम। जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम। जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम। जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम।
So, my dear sisters and brothers, I want to add my own words to the words of welcome expressed to all of you by Suraj. we're very honored that you have joined us this evening for the first of 2 nights of satsang. I also want to say a special word of welcome to all of you who are joining online, who are with us virtually for our satsang tonight. I know that there are many, many of you who are there listening to us tonight. So welcome to all of you. In these 2 satsangs, I will be sharing with you 4 kathas from Ramcharitmanas, the Ramayana of Tulsidas. These 4 kathas are ones that I think were deeply loved and are deeply loved by our family, by Hindus in Trinidad, in the Caribbean, and across the world. But I want to revisit these kathas and ask a new question or new questions as I speak about them. It is 37 years ago that I did my first Yagna on Ramcharitmanas. It was at Diwali Nagar, 1987. And we did for 10 years until 97. I can't get too close to it because I have to bend over. But last year, for the first time, Geeta and I went to India, and we went to Varanasi because I had some lectures to give there. And very late one night, we were invited to come to the home of the Mahant of the Sankat Mochan temple. His family were the Mahants of this temple for many generations. His name is Vishwambar Nath Misra. So we went to his home and we sat with him and had a beautiful conversation. And at the end of the conversation, he asked if we wanted to see the mandir. So of course, we said yes. But I didn't really know. I thought it was his own private mandir because it was adjoining his home. So we he took us to an annex adjoining his home, and his attendant went with us and said, "This is where Tulsidas lived." It was a room that was not much larger than the platform on which I am sitting. And there was a small bed, more like a cot, a small bed, and next to the bed was a murti of Hanuman. And this is the room in which Tulsidas sat and wrote Ramcharitmanas, the book, the text brought by our ancestors to these islands, and the text that we have been studying and chanting and reciting now for over 175 years. It was a very moving experience for us, as you can imagine. It was late night, so people were not around. It was just the attendant, Geeta, and I, and one friend. And when you look out of Tulsidas's room, you would see the the Ganga. So the room in which he lived was a high one, and it overlooked the Ganga. And there he sat and he composed. So I want to discuss with you these 4 kathas in these 2 satsangs. And my question, as I discuss these kathas with you, is how do we meet God? How do we encounter God? How do we experience God in our lives? And as we will see, there is no single way. There are many ways in which God comes to us. We encounter, we experience God. And Ramcharitmanas describes some of these ways. And from each way, we learn something. Each way may be different, each meeting, each encounter is different, but each one is instructive to us. We can learn something, we are taught something from each meeting. That Sri Ram comes to us in many different ways, and we will look at some of these ways. In my 37 years, and perhaps even more than 37 years of studying Ramayana, I have come to understand that when you study this text, when you listen to this text, there are 2 ways in which you must listen. Tulsidas was a great scholar. He was a Sanskrit poet. He could write very beautiful poetry in Sanskrit. He was very learned, and his verses speak to our minds. So when we listen, we also listen. We listen with our minds. We listen with reason. But Tulsidas was also writing from a place of love. And he's writing to us also so that we can listen with our hearts. We listen with our minds, but we have to listen to Ramcharitmanas with our hearts as well, with both heart and mind. And I think in Ramcharitmanas, the heart is even more important than the mind. When we listen with our hearts, we are listening with love. We are listening with bhakti. We are listening with prema. So the heart must also listen, because he is writing to us from his own heart about the ways in which we experience God, the ways in which God comes to us. And there are many ways. You know, the great teacher of Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna, he was also a very simple man, but a man who had very deep experiences of God. And he told a story. He said one day a man entered into the forest and he saw a small animal on a tree. And he came back and he told another man that he had seen this beautiful creature on the tree, this beautiful animal on the tree, and it was red in color. And the second man said, I also went to that forest and I think I saw the same animal that you saw, but why do you say it's red? It was what I saw was green. And then another man who was present contradicted both of them and said, no, I saw it also. And in fact, it was gray. So one saw red, one saw green, one saw gray. And they started quarreling among themselves. What is really the color of this, who saw the true color of this animal. So they said, let's all go back to the tree and let's see if this animal will appear and what its real color is. So they went back into the forest and they went back to the tree and they saw a man sitting under the tree. And they asked him, have you seen this animal that lives on this tree, and do you know what its real color is? And the man said, yes, I spend a lot of time under this tree and I know this animal well. And all of you are correct. Sometimes it's red, and sometimes it's green, and sometimes it's gray, because it was a chameleon that changed its color. It was a lizard, a chameleon that appeared in different color. And so Sri Ramakrishna said that God is like that. We experience God differently. God comes to us in different ways, and like that chameleon, all of these ways are true. All of these ways are valid. And sometimes, he said, this chameleon has no color at all. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's gray, and sometimes you can't tell what its color might be like. So, keeping that in mind, Sri Ramakrishna's beautiful story, the first example, the first katha that I want to speak about comes from Aranyakand. It is one that you know well, one that we chanted from the very earliest days of the arrival of our Hindu ancestors here. It is the katha of Sabari. Sabari's katha. Sabari's katha is very important for us because it describes one of the significant ways in which we meet God, in which we encounter the divine. God comes to us, and there is no mistaking that we are in God's presence. Let us see how Tulsidas describes the experience of Sabari. Sri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama.
ताहि देई गति राम उदारा. ताहि देई गति राम उदारा. सबरी के आश्रम पगु धारा. सबरी के आश्रम पगु धारा. सबरी देखी राम गृह आए. सबरी देखी राम गृह आए. मुनि के वचन समूझिजिय भाए. मुनि के वचन समूझिजिय भाए.
Shri Ram Jaya
Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Jai Ram Shri Rama Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sabari is a woman. She is a forest-dwelling woman. She is called Sabari because she came from a particular tribe called the Sabaras. There's a lot of speculation about who were the Sabaras, and some suggest that perhaps they were a group of people who took care of dead bodies. We are not sure, but she's Sabari because she comes from the Sabara tribe living in the forest. Now, what is very clear, and we'll see, is that the members of this group of people, the Sabaras, were regarded as untouchables. People avoided them. Contact with them was considered to be polluting. So people stayed far from these people. So she belonged to this tribe. And so this is why they lived apart, separate from other communities. Nobody wanted to interact with them. In fact, Tulsi Das describes Sabari as Jati Hina, somebody who had without caste, Jati Heen, outside of the caste system. And she herself, as we will see, says, I am Adhama Jati. I come from the lowest caste. That's her self-description. But what is clear is that Sabari was a woman, a deeply religious woman. She was a highly spiritual woman. She had a deep spirituality and devotion to God. How do we know that? Because we are told that Sabari had a guru, and his name was Matanga Rishi. So she had a spiritual guru, Matanga Rishi. And in the Ramayana, her home is described as an ashram. So Tulsidas says, Sabari ke ashram pagudhara. Sri Ram went to her ashram. So an ashram is a place where a person lives and practices religious discipline, tapas or discipline. That's why it's called an ashram. We don't have evidence of anyone else living with Sabari. She lived alone. She didn't have any students or disciples. She lived a solitary life with the blessings of her guru. Her diet was very simple. She lived off the fruits in the forest, and she collected roots and bulbs from the forest floor. And this was her simple diet: edible roots and fruits. And she probably never had, if any, visitors. But why was she in this forest waiting, practicing spiritual discipline and waiting? Sabari was waiting. Why? Because her guru told her that God will come. Her guru gave his word, his vachan. Sabari, God will come to you. So when she saw Ram, Sabari dekhi Ramu griha aaye. When she saw Ram coming, Tulsidas says, Muni ke vachana samujhi jiya bhai. She remembered her Guru's words. That Ram, that God will come to her. And what did she see? Tulsidas says in this beautiful Chaupai. Sarasi jalocan bahu vishala. Sarasi jalocan bahu vishala. Jata mukut sir ur banamala. Jata mukut sir ur banamala. श्याम गौर सुंदर दो भाई. श्याम गौर सुंदर दो भाई. सबरी परी चरण लपताई. सबरी परी चरण लपताई.
जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम. श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम.
प्रेम मगन मुख बचन नु आवा. प्रेम मगन मुख बचन आवा. पुनि पुनि पद सरोज सिरुनावा. पुनि पुनि पद सरोज सिरुनावा. सादर जल लय चरण पखारे. सादर जल लय चरण पखारे. पुनि सुंदर आसन बैठारे. पुनि सुंदर आसन बैठारे. श्री राम जय
राम जय जय राम. जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम.
कंद मूल फल सुरस अति. दिए राम कहु आने. कंद मूल फल सुरस अति. दिए राम कहु आने.
राम
प्रेम सहित प्रभु खाए. बारंबार बखान सिया पति
रामचंद्र हरि जय शरणम. शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम.
So Tulsidas is very detailed. What does she see first? So she's been waiting all her life. And she remembered, and she knew this is a fulfillment of my Guru's promise that God has come. And what did she see first? She saw his eyes. So she's looking at his face. The first thing she notices are his eyes. Loving eyes. Sarasi Jalochan, soft, kind, compassionate eyes. She sees his eyes before she sees anything else. Because you know, the eyes are the windows of the soul. And when we go for darshan, we look, we see, and she saw loving eyes, lotus-like loving eyes, before she saw anything else. Sarasijalochana bahu vishala. Then alone she saw his arms. Saw his eyes, and then she saw his long arms. Jata mukuta. And then his hair, his knotted hair. Jata mukuta. Sira uraban mala. On which there were flowers, wild flowers from the forest. And then she saw his color, the color of his skin, dark, shyama. Because Ram's color was dark. Then she saw his skin and the darkness of his skin color. So she looked, Sabari pari charan lapatai, and then she fell at his feet. No words have been spoken yet. Then she fell at his feet. Prem magan mukha vachana nuava. She fell, prema is love, magan, intoxicated, drowned in love, speechless, without any words. Then sadara jallai charana pakhare. She brought water, she washed his feet and offered him a seat. Now she doesn't have a throne for Ram to sit, but she offered him a seat of grass. That's all she could offer. A seat of grass to sit. And she gave him what she ate. The very things that she collected, the fruits, the bulbs, the roots. Kandamula palassurasati. Those things that were part of her own diet, because that's all that she had. She didn't have, there were no groceries where somebody collected and purchased food supplies. She survived on what she got from the forest. So these were the very things that she could offer to him. Bulbs, roots, fruits. But how Tulsidas describes this is very beautiful. He says, Prem magan prabhu khayeu barambar bakhani. But Ram praised it again and again, told her how wonderful these fruits are, how delicious these bulbs are. Prem Sahit, with love, he praised again and again the very simple food offerings that Sabari could bring. He enjoyed her offerings and praised repeatedly what she gave him. So God came to Sabari. This is one way in which we experience God. God came to Sabari, fulfilling her own deepest desire for darshan and fulfilling the promise of her guru. This is not an ordinary katha in Ramayana. To understand the impact of this katha, you have to know what is happening here. God came to her. I said, she's a tribal woman. Someone forced to live away from others because she's considered as an untouchable woman. Tribal, low caste woman, the divine came to her and happily accepted from her hands the fruits and the bulbs that she had collected. God came to her. This woman, this low caste, tribal woman, did not come from a high status family, did not have fame. She was not a famous person. She was not a powerful woman. She was a poor, powerless woman. She was not a well-connected woman. She was alone, unconnected, powerless, poor, low caste. God came to her. And God came to the place that she lived, to her home. She didn't meet him, she didn't go seeking him on a pilgrimage. She was not living in a cave in the Himalayan mountains. She was in her own simple, modest hut, kutia, ashram. She met him where she lived, in her own humble home. There he visited her, and there he enjoyed hospitality. And there he taught her something very important, which is why he went to her. So when she collected herself, it's not an ordinary thing to discover that you are in the presence of the divine. It's not surprising that she was speechless. But when she collected herself, she did speak to him. And this is, of course, what she said.
प्रभु ही बिलो की प्रीति अति बारी राम श्री राम पानी जोरी आगे भई थारी प्रभु ही बिलो की प्रीति अति बारी राम श्री राम केहि विधि स्तुति करऊं तुम्हारी अधम जाति में जरमति भारी राम श्री राम केहि विधि स्तुति तुम्हारी अधमत जाति में जरमति भारी राम अधम अधम जति नारी तिन मह में अति मंद अघारी राम श्री राम अधमति अधम अधम अति नारी तिन मह में अति मंद अघारी कहाँ रघुपति सुनी भामिनी वाता मानव एक भगति करनाता राम श्री राम जय जय रामा जय राम श्री राम जय जय रामा श्री राम जय रामा जय राम श्री राम जय रामा.
So when she could collect herself to speak in the presence of the divine, she puts her hands together. Pani jori aage bhai thari, Prabhu hi viloki priti atibari. And with love growing or overflowing from her heart and her hands clasped together, she says, Kehi bidhi astuti karau tumhari. What can I say to you? What words can I use, stuti? What words can I offer in praise of you? And these are the words. Adhamma jati. I am a low caste woman. Adhamma jati. Main jaramati bhari. And I am uneducated. I am not a learned person. And I am low caste. In fact, adhamate adhama. I am lower than the lowest. And I am a woman. She keeps on coming up to that. And I am a woman. Because she knows the prejudice against women. Adhamate adhama ati nari. You know, there was a time when we only had IPs. IPs are important people. IP. But it was not good enough. Then we had VIPs. We put the V, right? And then so we had the very important people. There were the IPs, but there were the VIPs. And then that wasn't good enough. We had the VV. That's not, I'm not making up. They have, you can buy seats, you know, if you are a VVIP. These seats are reserved for the VVIPs, which means a very, very important persons. I think that's about where it is right now. Triple? Oh, I didn't know that one. So that would be very, very, very important people. So Sabari was not even an IP. She was not even an IP person, certainly not VIP or VVIP. I say, Sabari was LLUP. Because she says so, adhamate adhama. I am lower, unimportant person. LLUP. LLUP. And God came to her. And God came to Sabari's home. Her wealth was her love. Her richness was her love. And so when she spoke and she said to him, Adhamate adhama ati nari. So I am already low, and then among the low, women are the lowest. So I am the lowest of the low, because I am not only low caste, but I am a low caste woman. So that puts me really at the bottom of the social ladder, the social order. And Ram listened to her. And then he says, Kaha Raghupati Sunu Bhamini Vata Manau Ek Bhagati Karanata. I think this is why Tulsidas has given this katha, for this line alone. Manau Ek Bhagati Karanata. It says, Sabari, I value only love. You are worried about the fact that you are a woman. You are worried obviously about the fact that you come from an untouchable caste. But let me tell you, you are rich in my eyes because your heart is full of love. Manau eka bhagati karanat. And that's all I want. That's all I value. That's my relationship with human beings. Jati, pati, kula, dharma, badhai, dhana, bala, parijana, guran, chatarai. I don't value people because of their wealth, dhana, because of their power in the world. Parijana, how well connected they are, what friends they have in high status. Bhagati hina nara so hai kaise, binu jalavari da dekhiya jaisa. For me, a person without love is like a cloud that has no water. It's dry, it's empty. It doesn't nourish. It doesn't give rains that nourish. And then, so this was the message that he came to give to this woman who was suffering so full of love, but as you can see, so poor self-esteem because people had condemned her. And Ram wanted to assure her and to fill her, to give her dignity, to give her self-respect. So God coming to a devotee like this is very rare. Sabari's experience is very rare. But her love was irresistible to him. It was like a magnet that attracted Ram. And as I said, her guru had promised her that God would come. So, in this katha of Sabari, we are reminded that in our search for God, we must be patient. She waited. She trusted her teacher. She had hope. He gave her hope that God would come. So she had faith, she had hope, she had trust. And her faith, her hope, her trust was fulfilled that day when Ram came to her door. So God coming to us in this way is one of the ways, very rare, but one of the ways in which we experience God. But our meeting with God, our encounters with God, our experience with God does not only happen when we are waiting and expecting, like Sabari did. Sabari was looking out and expecting every day. Today would be the day that the divine would come to my home. Each day she was hoping. But sometimes the experience of God, the encounter with God comes unexpectedly. That's the second way. When we are not anticipating, we are not expecting, we are not looking for the divine. When we are not necessarily even thinking about God, God comes. It is sometimes entirely unexpected. And this is the second example I want to share with you, the unexpected meeting. Sabari was the expected meeting. This one was an unexpected meeting, and this was the experience of Hanuman. Hanuman's meeting with Ram was completely unexpected. So let's see what happened with this encounter. आगे चले बहुरी रघुराया, ऋष्यमुख पर्वत नियराया। आगे चले बहुरी रघुराया, ऋष्यमुख पर्वत। तहाँ रह सचिव सहित सुग्रीवा, तहाँ रह सचिव सहित सुग्रीवा। आवत देखी अतुल बल सेवा। जय हनुमान
ज्ञान गुण सागरे, जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागरे। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा।
अति सभी कहा सुनो हनुमाना, पुरुष युगुल बल रूप निधाना। अति सभी कहा सुनो हनुमाना, पुरुष युगुल बल रूप निधाना। धरि बतु रूप देखू तौ जाई, धरि बतु रूप देखू तौ जाई। कहे सुजानि जिय शयन बुझाई।
जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा।
पथय बाली होई मन मैला, भागौ तुरत जाओ यह सैला। विप्र रूप धरि कपित गयो, मात नाई पूछत अस भयो।
जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा।
ओ तुम श्यामल गौर शरीरा, क्षत्रि रूप फिरहु बनवीरा। कठिन भूमि कोमल परगामी, कठिन भूमि कोमल परगामी। कवन हेतु बन बिचरहु स्वामी।
जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा।
So Hanumanji's meeting with Ram represents the unexpected meeting with God that can happen anytime and in any place. Because as you know, he was serving in the administration of Sugriv, and they were living on this mountain, Rishyamukh Parvat, because there was a conflict between these two brothers, Bali and Sugriv was forced to give up the kingdom and go into exile, and Hanuman went with him. He was a minister of Sugriv. So they were living in exile. They were all fearful of Bali, who had seized power, seized the state. And from the top of this mountain, they saw these two young men coming. Rishyamukh Parvat. They saw these two men approaching, and Sugriv asked Hanumanji to go and find out who they are, because he was suspicious that these were spies from Bali coming to discern their abode, their location. So please go and see if you can ascertain who are these two young men. And if, in fact, they are from my brother, please indicate by some sign so that I can flee this place immediately. So we do not know what were Hanumanji's thoughts as he went to meet these two young men. All he knew was that he was going in obedience to Sugriv's request that he find out who they are. And he was a good servant of Sugriv, but we don't know what he was thinking. I don't think he had the thought that today I was going to meet God. I don't think that was what was uppermost in his mind. He's probably in a very defensive mode to protect his leader, but not that today my life will change by this encounter. So he was very much unlike Sabari. Sabari was waiting, and when she saw Ram, she knew that the divine had come to her. We don't think Hanumanji was expecting to meet God on that day in this way. So he approaches them and he interrogates them because he's still trying to find out who they are. Ko tu masyama lagaura sharira. Who are you? You are dark, Ram, you are fair. Who are you two young men? Ko tu masyama lagaura sharira. Kshatri roop firhu ban biran. You're walking these forest paths, like warriors, because they had their weapons with them. Katina bhumi ko mal padagami. The ground here is very hard, and your feet are so soft. Who are you? What is your purpose here? So all of this is to see from the answers if you could tell who they are. And then Ram spoke. Ram spoke to him. Kosale sadasarat ke jaye, hum pitu vachana mahani ban aaye. That we are the sons of Dasarat. We are here in obedience to our father's promise. Nama Rama Lakshman. Our names are Ram and Lakshman. Sanganari Sukumari Suhai. And my wife was also with us, but she was taken away from us. So Ram spoke to him. And then Tulsidas says, unlike Sabari, who knew that God had come, it took Hanuman some time. Because he was not expecting. Prabhu Pahechani. Unexpected recognition that suddenly he recognized, I am in the presence of God. That the divine is standing before me. So Ram's words had some powerful impact on him, and he knew then, only then, that before me the divine stands. So he approached a stranger, a young man in the forest, and discovered that this young man, a stranger, was God. He did not expect, as I said, on that morning in Kishkinda, that he would meet God. And one does not meet God and be the same. Any true experience of the divine will change you forever, will transform you. And that meeting was a 360-degree turn in his life. From Sugriva minister, he became Ram's Doot. That unexpected meeting, that morning in Kishkinda, changed Hanumanji forever. From Sugriv's Sachiva, from a servant of Sugriva, he became a Ram Das. He became a servant of God for the rest of his life. That encounter was so powerful that he knew he had no choice but to become Ram's servant, Ram's doot. And he served Ram, as you know, as no one else did. Ram himself admitted that no one had served me like Hanumanji. So, the meeting with God is not always a planned one. It can also occur unexpectedly. And there are many, many people who, not only in the Hindu tradition, but in other traditions, who've had this unexpected meeting with the divine. But as I said, whether planned or unplanned, it will not leave you unchanged. It would not leave you without being transformed. So, Sabari reminds us, we learn from Sabari the value of patience, the value of faith, the value of hope. But Hanumanji's unexpected meeting with Ram reminds us of our need to be attentive, to be vigilant. God might come when we don't expect, in the place where we don't expect, at a time that we don't expect. And he was pained by this fact. He admitted his pain after he met Ram was that I did not recognize you immediately. Tava maya bas firao bhulana tate mai nahi prabhu pahchana. So he was hurting because he felt that he was inattentive, that it took him too long to realize that he was in the presence of God. In other words, he thought, I could have missed this. I may have missed this. So please forgive me that I didn't recognize you. And then we have, the whole prayer of Hanumanji in Ramcharitmanas that we have up on the wall. Jadapi Nahata Bahu is an apology for being inattentive, for being unmindful, for forgetting. Because we all forget. We all forget. He felt, I should not have had to ask him to identify himself. Who are you? He was asking. God is standing before him and he said, and yet I asked him, who are you? And I asked him, who are you? And I didn't recognize him. Jadapi Natha Bahu Avagunamore. I forgot you, he said. Don't forget me. This was Hanumanji's prayer, an apology for his forgetfulness. So he reminds us that we don't meet God only in temples, only in sacred places, only in places of worship. We can meet him on the road. Hanumanji met him on the road, we might say, as a stranger approaching him. Unexpected meeting on the road, in ordinary circumstances. And are we attentive? Will we recognize? I will conclude tonight with a short story. And then tomorrow I will discuss 2 other kathas with different kinds of meetings between God and devotee. But this is a story about Shiva. Hanumanji was regarded as Shiva incarnate. And this is about Daksha. Daksha was the father of Sati, of Parvati. And Daksha's wife was Prastuti. And their youngest and most favorite daughter was Sati. So Daksha and Prastuti, daughter, was Sati. And Sati worshipped, and she was deeply devoted to God as Shiva. Her love for Shiva was strong and deep, and she longed to unite with Shiva in marriage. Daksha knew of Sati's devotion to Shiva, but he was opposed to it from the very beginning. Daksha came from he was a wealthy person, he was a king. And he wanted his daughter to marry into another royal family, to strengthen his alliances, to enhance his prestige, to expand his territory through marriage. He wanted to see if he can have an alliance that would enable him to become more powerful, more wealthy, more well connected. And in his eyes, Shiva was unsuitable. Shiva was the complete opposite of what he wanted or what God would be like. Why? Shiva was not wealthy. He didn't have a home. He lived up in Kailash, in the mountains. He didn't have a palace. He was a mountain dweller. He's Kailasapati. He had a place in the mountain. He was, well, my daughter go there to the mountain. So he didn't have a place. He was not wealthy. He didn't have a palatial home. And where does he hang out? Cremation grounds. This is one of his favorite places. He likes to go to the cremation grounds where people are being cremated. What kind of person is this? Why is Sati attracted to him, poor, home, without a proper home, and then hanging out on evenings in the cremation site? And see how he dresses? The guy doesn't have any royal robes. He wears a tiger's skin around his waist and then puts ashes on his body. He smears his body with ash. So, and then, have you seen who are his friends? Who he not only goes to the cremation, but who he hangs out with? He hangs out with everybody that other people reject. They are, if you are a ghost, you are with him. So his companions are those who people reject. They don't want to be with them. So Daksha could not imagine someone more unsuitable to be God and to marry his daughter. But Sati was in love. She went against her father's wishes and she married the Lord of her heart. And she went to live with him in Kailash. Daksha was so angry, he cut her off, excommunicated. Sati, we don't want you back in our home, if this is the choice that you made. So he failed to recognize God, to recognize Shiva as God. Why? Because he had a certain expectation of what God should look like, whose company God will keep, and the places that God would be. God doesn't go to cremation grounds. So he thinks, if Shiva is God, then Shiva would associate only with wealthy people like him. And he would be dressed with a crown and with fine clothing and jewelry. See what he has around his neck? Who wears a snake around one's neck? What kind of person is this? How could he be God? So he could not bring himself to see God in Shiva, because Shiva did not meet his expectations of what God was like. But then he did something even more troubling. So his he wanted to have a yagna. And Sati got news that my father is having this great yagna. And she told Shiva, I want to go. And he said, but Sati, your father excommunicated you. If you go there, they will insult you. Don't go, don't go, don't go. So Daksha was having this yagna. So he didn't invite Sati, and of course didn't invite Shiva. Imagine that. You're having a yagna to worship God, but God is not invited. Shiva himself, God is not invited. It sounds very strange that you're having a worship of God, but you don't want God there. It's not as strange as it sounds, because when we think that God is only like us and God has our own likes and dislikes and our own values, we are in fact worshipping ourselves and not God. If we think God hates those whom I hate and God likes only those whom I like and dislikes. And Daksha never questioned his understanding of God or paused to ask why he was rejecting Shiva. The story continues, Sati came there, she was insulted, and there's a great tragedy that happens when she feels that she's rejected by her parents. But that's the rest of the story is for another katha. I just wanted to make the point that sometimes we fail to recognize God because we don't our expectations of what God is like. And that has happened in recent times. There's so many examples that we could give. But I will stop here tonight, Suraj, with these two kathas.
Do you believe there's a divine plan in everything? A couple of weeks ago, I learned this bhajan, not knowing that he was going to give this katha of Sabari tonight. So that's why I was flipping through my phone to find it. And the bhajan captures everything he said about Sabari. Bade bhagi Sabari ne paaye, Prabhu ke jhoote bhed khilaaye. Bhed is the fruit. And she gave him the fruits that she had tasted. She gave up the whole world, Sabari na sara jagat chora, but kept Ram in her heart, sitting there thinking of him and meditating on him. Shraddha prem ke jyota jagai. Faith grew in her. And then she encountered Mile Raghurai. She forgot everything about whether the fruits were sour, whether they were sweet. Her eyes became filled with tears when she met Ram. Bade bhagi Sabari ne paaye, bade bhagi Sabari ne paaye, Prabhu ke jhoote bhed khilaaye. Prabhu ke jhoote bhed khilaaye. Bade bhage Sabari ne paaye, bade bhage Sabari ne paaye, Prabhu ke jhoote bhed khilaaye. Prabhu ke jhoote bhed khilaaye. शबरी ने सारा जग छोड़ा, शबरी ने सारा जग छोड़ा, राम सिया हर नाता जोड़ा, राम सिया हर नाता जोड़ा। बैठे मन में राम बसाई, बैठे मन में राम बसाए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए, प्रभु के झूठे बेर खिलाए। बड़े भाग्य शबरी ने पाए, बड़े भाग्य शबरी ने पाए, प्रभु के झूठे बेर खिलाए, प्रभु के झूठे बेर खिलाए। श्रद्धा प्रेम की ज्योत जगाई, श्रद्धा प्रेम की ज्योत जगाई, बरसों बाद मिले रघुराई, बरसों बाद मिले रघुराई। पाकर दरस में हर्षाए, पाकर दरस नैन हर्षाए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए। बड़े भाग्य शबरी ने पाए, बड़े भाग्य शबरी ने पाए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए। भूले शबरी सुध बुध सारी, भूले शबरी सुध बुध सारी, मीठे चाहो की अंधियारी, मीठी चाहो दिस की अंधियारी। आँखों में आंसू भर आए, आँख में आंसू भर आए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए। बड़े भाग शबरी ने पाए, बड़े भाग शबरी ने पाए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए, प्रभु को झूठे बेर खिलाए।
हे नंद लाला, हे नंद लाला,
हे नंद लाला, हे नंद लाला,
हे नंद लाला,
हे नंद लाला।
गोपी मनोहर गोकुल बाला,
गोपी मनोहर गोकुल बाला,
गोपी मनोहर गोकुल बाला,
गोपी मनोहर गोकुल बाला। हे नंद लाला, हे नंद लाला, हे नंद लाला, हे नंद लाला।
गोपी मनोहर गोकुल बाला,
गोपी मनोहर गोकुल बाला।
विश्ववंदित विजय गोपाला,
विश्ववंदित विजय
विजय गोपाल
वेद वेदांत वेणुगोपाल
वेद वेदांत वेणुगोपाल
विश्ववंदित विजय गोपाल
विश्ववंदित विजय गोपाल
वेद वेदांत वेणुगोपाल
वेद वेदांत वेणुगोपाल
गान विलोला राज्य गोपाल
गान विलोला राज गोपाल
गान विलोला राज्य गोपाल
गान विलोला राज गोपाल
राधा वल्लभ
राधा वल्लभ रास विलोला
राधा वल्लभ
राधा वल्लभ रास विलोला जय जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद
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 जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद
जय जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद
जय जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद
जय जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद हे नंद लाला हे नंद लाला जय जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद
I'm introducing this song because there's a theme for tomorrow's Katha. पहले पाँव पखारूं प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो पहले पाँव पखारूं प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो गंगा पार उतारो गंगा पार उतारो प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो, पहले पाँव पखारू प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो, प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो। चरण कमल का धूल तुम्हारी, चरण कमल का धूल तुम्हारी, छूने में इसके दरबारी, छूने में इसके दरबारी, हो गए शिला अहल्या नारी, हो गए हमारी, मैं क्यों काज बिगारूं, मैं क्यों काज बिगारूं, प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो, प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो, पहले पाँव पखारू प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो, प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो। चरण कमल से गंगा जी ने, चरण कमल से गंगा जी ने पावन जल यहाँ पाया, पावन जल यहाँ पाया, धोकर पाँव पिए चरणामृत, धोकर पाँव पिए चरणामृत, कर जाइए काया। हम नैया के खेवैया, तुम भवसागर पार करैया, लैला जोर करे ऐसा नाता, मैं ना कभी बिसारूं, मैं ना कभी बिसारूं, प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो, प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो, पहले पाँव पखारू प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो, प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो, प्रभु फिर गंगा पार उतारो।
So I'm very happy Suraj sang this song tonight because it really introduces one of the kathas tomorrow night, which is the Ram's meeting with Kevat, the boatman that took him across the Ganges. I know when he sang this, everyone recognized it because it was one of the earliest Ramayana recordings in Trinidad by Pandit Nirmal Maharaj, who told the Kevat Katha in this very beautiful song. So by telling these kathas like the Kevat Katha that I'll tell tomorrow, we honor all of those who preceded us and who kept these kathas alive and offered their own thoughts and interpretations. We honor all of them. And now in our context, we retell the stories in our own times with new meanings and new relevance. So wonderful, Suraj. Thank you.
What he wouldn't tell is that 2 days ago he learned the song. And he sat here and made me sing it for him yesterday. On Sunday, I told him the story that how we sang it together. Let us stand for Arty. आरती श्री रामायण जी की, आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीरति कलित ललित सियपी की, आरती श्री रामायण, आरती श्री रामायण जी की, आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीरति कलित ललित सियपी की, आरती श्री रामायण। गावत ब्रह्मादिक मुनि नारद, गावत ब्रह्मादिक मुनि नारद, वाल्मीकि विज्ञान विशारद, आरती श्री रामायण। सुख संकादि शेष अरु शारद, सुख संकादि शेष अरु शारद, बरनि पवन सुत कीरतिनी की, आरती श्री रामायण। संतत गावत शंभु भवानी, संकट गावत शंभु भवानी, अर्घट संभव मुनि विज्ञानी, आरती श्री रामायण। व्यास आदि कवि पुंग बखानी, व्यास आदि कवि पुंग बखानी, काकभूषुंडी गरुड़ घियहि की, आरती श्री रामायण। चारहु वेद पुराण अष्टदश, चारहु वेद पुराण अष्टदश, चाहु शास्त्र सब ग्रंथन को रस, आरती श्री रामायण। आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीरति कलित ललित सियपी की, आरती श्री रामायण। तन मन धन संतन की सर्वस, तन मन धन संतन की सर्वस, सार्यांश सममत सबरी की, आरती श्री रामायण। कलिमल हरनि विषय रस फीके, कलिमल हरनि विषय रस फीके, शुभग श्रृंगार मुक्ति युवती की, आरती श्री रामायण। हरनि रोग भव भूरि अमी की, हरनि रोग भव भूरि अमी की, तात मात सब विधि तुलसी की, आरती श्री रामायण। आरती श्री रामायण जी की, आरती श्री रामायण जी की, कीरति कलित ललित सियपी की, आरती श्री रामायण। आरती श्री राम आरती श्री रामायण। वीर मारुति गंभीर मारुति, धीर मारुति गंभीर मारुति
धीर मारुति अति धीर मारुति
धीर मारुति अति धीर मारुति
गीत मारुति संगीत मारुति
गीत मारुति संगीत मारुति
दूत मारुति राम दूत मारुति
दूत मारुति राम दूत मारुति
भक्त मारुति परम भक्त मारुति
भक्त मारुति परम भक्त मारुति हे वीर मारुति गंभीर मारुति वीर मारुति गंभीर मारुति
धीर मारुति अति धीर मारुति
धीर मारुति
अति धीर मारुति गीत मारुति संगीत मारुति
गीत मारुति संगीत मारुति
दूत मारुति राम दूत मारुति
दूत मारुति राम दूत मारुति
भक्त मारुति परम भक्त मारुति
भक्त मारुति परम भक्त मारुति
वीर मारुति गंभीर मारुति
वीर मारुति गंभीर मारुति गंभीर मारुति गंभीर मारुति गंभीर मारुति
यत्र यत्र रघुनाथ कीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम् त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरि ओम् सियापति रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान
की जय
सब संतन की जय।
Nandini's